A prisoner lies on an operating table, surrounded by Japanese scientists in white coats, their faces expressionless. The air is thick with the smell of disinfectant and fear. The prisoner's eyes are wide with terror as a scientist raises a scalpel, poised to make the first incision. The sound of screams echoes through the corridors, a chilling reminder of the atrocities being committed within these walls. The date is February 1945, and this is the infamous Unit 731, a secret Japanese biological and chemical warfare unit. But how did it come to this? But no one was prepared for the horrors that would unfold. The year is 1938, and Japan is expanding its empire, invading China and establishing the puppet state of Manchukuo. The Japanese army is in need of a new strategy to gain the upper hand, and a young officer named Shiro Ishii sees an opportunity to make a name for himself. Ishii, a brilliant and ambitious scientist, proposes the creation of a biological and chemical warfare unit with the goal of developing new weapons to aid the Japanese war effort. The unit, codenamed Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department, is established, and Ishii is appointed as its commander. The unit's initial purpose is to develop vaccines and treatments for diseases, but it soon becomes clear that Ishii has more sinister plans. As the unit grows in size and scope, the line between science and horror begins to blur. But the true intentions of Unit 731 remain hidden, for now. The world is at war, and the rules of engagement are changing. The Japanese invasion of China has sparked a global conflict, with the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union all taking sides. In the midst of this chaos, the Japanese government sees an opportunity to expand its empire, and Unit 731 is at the forefront of this effort. The unit's research and development are focused on creating new biological and chemical agents, with the goal of using them to weaken and demoralize the enemy. The Japanese government provides the unit with unlimited resources and funding, and Ishii is given carte blanche to pursue his research. As the war rages on, the atrocities committed by Unit 731 become more and more horrific, but the unit remains shrouded in secrecy. The international community is unaware of the horrors being committed, but whispers of a mysterious Japanese unit begin to circulate. The answer, when it finally comes, will be worse than anyone imagined. In 1940, a group of Chinese prisoners are brought to Unit 731, allegedly for medical research. The prisoners are subjected to gruesome experiments, including vivisections and injections with unknown substances. The first whispers of a mysterious Japanese unit begin to circulate, but they are quickly dismissed as propaganda. The Japanese government denies any wrongdoing, and the international community is skeptical of the claims. However, a young Chinese journalist named Ping begins to investigate the rumors, and soon discovers a pattern of strange occurrences and unexplained deaths in the vicinity of Unit 731. Ping's investigation is met with resistance and intimidation, but he refuses to back down. As he delves deeper, he realizes that something is terribly wrong, but he cannot quite put his finger on it. And then the records simply stopped. As the war rages on, the experiments at Unit 731 become more and more horrific. Prisoners are subjected to vivisections, amputations, and other forms of torture, all in the name of scientific research. The scientists at Unit 731 become increasingly brazen, experimenting on civilians, including women and children. The prisoners are forced to endure unimaginable suffering, and many do not survive. The conditions at the laboratory are brutal, with prisoners living in squalor and filth. The stench of death and decay hangs in the air, and the sound of screams echoes through the corridors. One specific detail that makes the viewer's stomach drop is the use of prisoners as human test tubes, with scientists injecting them with diseases and observing the effects. The brutality of the experiments is matched only by the callousness of the scientists, who view their subjects as nothing more than lab rats. But no one was prepared for what came next. As the war effort expands, Unit 731 is given new resources and funding. The unit is tasked with developing new biological and chemical agents, and the scientists are given carte blanche to pursue their research. A new character, General Masaji Kitano, is introduced, a high-ranking officer in the Japanese army who becomes a key player in the expansion of Unit 731. Kitano is a ruthless and cunning officer who sees the potential for Unit 731 to be a game-changer in the war. He provides the unit with unlimited resources and support, and Ishii is given free rein to pursue his research. However, as the unit expands, the atrocities committed become more and more heinous. The prisoners are subjected to increasingly brutal experiments, and the scientists become more and more reckless. Something doesn't add up, as the unit's activities seem to be shrouded in an aura of secrecy and denial. In 1945, as the war is coming to an end, the Allies discover the atrocities committed by Unit 731. The unit's laboratory is raided and the scientists are arrested. The evidence of the horrific experiments is revealed, and the world is shocked by the sheer scale of the atrocities. Everything pointed to a simple case of scientific experimentation gone wrong, but then the truth about the unit's true purpose is revealed. The unit was not just a research facility, but a secret biological and chemical warfare unit, tasked with developing new weapons to aid the Japanese war effort. The scientists at Unit 731 were not just researchers, but were actively involved in the development of biological and chemical agents, with the goal of using them to weaken and demoralize the enemy. But then the records simply stopped, as the Japanese government and the Allies both sought to cover up the truth. As the Allies delve deeper into the records of Unit 731, they discover a web of secrets and lies. The unit's true purpose was not just to develop new biological and chemical agents, but to use them to commit atrocities on a massive scale. The scientists at Unit 731 were not just researchers, but were actively involved in the development of biological and chemical agents, with the goal of using them to weaken and demoralize the enemy. The unit's activities were shrouded in secrecy, and the Japanese government and the Allies both sought to cover up the truth. The atrocities committed by Unit 731 were not just limited to the laboratory, but extended to the wider community, with civilians and prisoners of war being subjected to horrific experiments. The details of the unit's activities are shocking, with evidence of vivisections, amputations, and other forms of torture. But one specific detail that has been overlooked is the use of Unit 731's research in the development of modern medicine, with some of the unit's scientists going on to become prominent figures in the field. As the Allies continue to investigate the atrocities committed by Unit 731, they begin to hear the stories of the survivors. One such story is that of a young Chinese woman named Mei, who was subjected to horrific experiments at the hands of the unit's scientists. Mei's story is one of unimaginable suffering, as she was forced to endure vivisections, amputations, and other forms of torture. Despite the trauma she experienced, Mei's spirit remains unbroken, and she becomes a powerful symbol of the human cost of the atrocities committed by Unit 731. Mei's story is just one of many, as the Allies hear from countless survivors, each with their own tale of horror and suffering. The human cost of the atrocities committed by Unit 731 is staggering, with thousands of innocent people subjected to horrific experiments and many more killed in the name of scientific research. As the world begins to understand the true extent of the atrocities, a sense of outrage and anger grows, and demands for justice and accountability begin to mount. As the Allies continue to investigate the atrocities committed by Unit 731, they begin to uncover a web of secrets and lies. The Japanese government and the Allies both sought to cover up the truth, with documents and records being destroyed or hidden. One specific document, the Ishii report, was destroyed, and the Japanese government claimed that it was lost in a fire. However, survivors and witnesses came forward, revealing the true extent of the atrocities committed by Unit 731. The cover-up was vast, with the Japanese government and the Allies both working to conceal the truth. But one specific event, the destruction of the Ishii report, stands out as a key moment in the cover-up. The report, which detailed the atrocities committed by Unit 731, was destroyed in a fire, and the Japanese government claimed that it was lost forever. But rumors persist that the report still exists, and that it holds the key to unlocking the secrets of Unit 731. The investigation into the atrocities committed by Unit 731 is led by the Allies, with a team of investigators and scientists working to uncover the truth. One such investigator, a young American scientist named Dr. Thompson, becomes a key figure in the investigation. Dr. Thompson is a brilliant and determined scientist who is driven by a desire to uncover the truth and bring justice to the victims of Unit 731. He works tirelessly, poring over documents and records and interviewing survivors and witnesses. The investigation is a complex and difficult one, with many obstacles and challenges along the way. But Dr. Thompson and his team persevere, driven by their commitment to uncovering the truth and bringing justice to the victims. The investigation leads to the discovery of new evidence, including documents and records that had been hidden or destroyed. The evidence is shocking, with details of the atrocities committed by Unit 731 and the scale of the human suffering. The official explanation for the atrocities committed by Unit 731 is that the unit was simply a research facility, conducting experiments to develop new vaccines and treatments. The Japanese government and the Allies both claim that the unit's activities were purely scientific, and that the experiments were necessary to advance medical knowledge. However, this explanation does not hold up to scrutiny, as the evidence of the atrocities committed by Unit 731 is overwhelming. The ergot poisoning theory, which suggests that the prisoners were given ergot, a poisonous fungus, to induce hallucinations, is one such explanation. However, this theory is contradicted by the evidence, which shows that the prisoners were subjected to a wide range of experiments, including vivisections and amputations. The official explanation is a thinly veiled attempt to cover up the truth, and it is clear that the Japanese government and the Allies are trying to conceal the true extent of the atrocities committed by Unit 731. One alternative theory, supported by the evidence, is that Unit 731 was a secret biological and chemical warfare unit, tasked with developing new weapons to aid the Japanese war effort. This theory is supported by the testimony of survivors and witnesses who describe the unit's activities as being focused on the development of biological and chemical agents. The theory is also supported by the discovery of documents and records which reveal the unit's true purpose. Dr. Sheldon Harris, a prominent historian, supports this theory and has written extensively on the subject. The evidence points to a vast conspiracy involving the Japanese government and the Allies to cover up the truth about Unit 731. The closest truth is that Unit 731 was a secret biological and chemical warfare unit, and that the atrocities committed by the unit were just the tip of the iceberg. The most disturbing fact about Unit 731 is that the atrocities committed by the unit were not just limited to the laboratory, but extended to the wider community. The unit's activities were not just focused on developing new biological and chemical agents, but on using them to commit atrocities on a massive scale. The unit's scientists and technicians were not just researchers, but were actively involved in the development of biological and chemical agents, with the goal of using them to weaken and demoralize the enemy. The human cost of the atrocities committed by Unit 731 is staggering, with thousands of innocent people subjected to horrific experiments and many more killed in the name of scientific research. The climax of the story is the realization that the atrocities committed by Unit 731 were not just a product of the war, but a symptom of a deeper disease, a disease of hatred and intolerance that still persists today. The legacy of Unit 731 is a dark and disturbing one, a reminder of the horrors that humans are capable of inflicting on each other. The atrocities committed by the unit are a stain on human history and a reminder of the importance of accountability and justice. The story of Unit 731 is a warning, a warning of the dangers of hatred and intolerance and the importance of protecting human rights and dignity. If this kept you up at night, subscribe. We post dark history every week.